Hello guys, good morning. This is Glenda and welcome to my tabletop dancing tabletop garden. You might be wondering what am I doing? Doing some video about plants because that's what we're gonna talk about today about this video. I'm just doing a friend a favor. She wants me to do a video about how do I take care of my succulents, especially this one known as baby finger. The scientific name is Papaphytum oviparo. This originally comes from Mexico, San Luis Potosi or St. Louis Potosi. We'll show you this plant. So this is how this plant looks like. Full length, once it's full grown, is about up to 20 centimeters. So this one's already had been propagated twice. So this is my first cutting on that plant. This is my second cutting. And these are just shoots, leaves, and another shoot here. So let me tell you the description of this plant. So as I've said, full length when it's full grown is about up to 20 centimeters depending on how long it will grow on you, but between 8 to 20 centimeters. So the leaves, the stem, like the circumference of the body is up to 3 centimeters. The leaves can grow about between 3 to 5 centimeters. The width is 1.8 to 3 centimeters as well. So the color of the leaves is grayish, light green, blue green, and sometimes depending on the sun exposure it will show pink tips. So it's plump and fleshy, looks like an almond confectionery. Sometimes it's egg-shaped or grape-shaped when it's young, but as it grows mature like this, it sort of elongates a bit and grow slimmer. So that's how it looks, that it has matured already. I don't really like the look of it when it matures. I prefer the look when it's young. So there we go. So how do you take propagation? Doesn't need propagation. What I did is I just took some cutting because I don't like it growing long because it sort of go bendy and I have to put stake on it so to keep it standing. See, I have to put stakes. So it's plump and fleshy, and you don't want to put this plant where your cats and dogs run around. So I like to put it on my tabletop. So because the leaves can easily knock off even with just light movement or just very light motion. So when it comes to the soil, it needs to be sandy, gritty, well draining. I use your normal cacti and succulent mix that you can pick up from the shops, from your garden shops. And sometimes if I run out, I'll just make one. The mixture should be sandy, as I've said, gritty. So I mix it with 70% tiny pebbles. These are the pebbles that I use. So tiny. And 10% of perlite and 10% of sand. I just use beach sand. I get the washed one from the shops. So yeah, there we go. This is how it looks like. This is how the mix looks like. It's very, very gritty. So when it comes to watering, I water it only once a week during winter, maybe up to 3 tablespoons of water. Once a week during winter and twice during summer. So 3 to 4 tablespoons of water. And if I use a spray like this, I just squared it for maybe about 20 squares. Sun exposure of this plant. You don't water it directly to the stem or the leaves. You don't want the leaves to get wet, as it can cause it to rot and the leaves can become mushy. So just water it on the base, and don't water it during the day. Water it at the end of the day when the sun is down and it's almost nighttime, as the leaves can just sip through those water at night when it's cool. Because if you do water it during the day, the water can tend to heat up and the roots will not like that. It can curl it up or might cook the roots as well. So avoid touching it on your finger with your finger, as it can leave white marks on it. Sun exposure, it does not require a lot of sun, like especially midday sun. It only requires maybe 2 to 3 hours of morning sun, and it loves filtered sunlight. Like I kept this one indoors for about 6 months, and it doesn't seem to show any sickness or weakening on the stem, and the leaves are growing quite healthy. So as I've mentioned, you can propagate this plant through cuttings, shoots, cutting from a shoot, and leaves as well. So these are leaves, these are shoots, and these are shoots, and this is a cutting, first cutting. This is the second cutting. So what you do is, as mine was already full grown and I don't like it, so I just cut it from the top. So you allow the wound, you cover the wound with cinnamon powder. This is what I use, just your normal kitchen ground cinnamon that you can buy from the cooking section on your groceries. So just dab cinnamon powder on the cutting, and then let it dry or callus over for 2 days before you will water it again or expose it to the sun again. And the cutting, you can actually propagate it after the drying period, when it's really dry and the wound had sealed and had calloused over for 2 weeks, for 2 days. You can put it in a potting mix and just leave it there for 2 weeks without sun exposure, without watering. Just protect it from the sun. So that's the propagation of the cutting. The same thing with the roots. It's just like cutting a stem. So this is the shoots that I have. What happens is, because I have been propagating and cutting it from the top, it forces the growth down below. That's why the shoots are coming up like that. So I have had shoots since I did my first cutting. See, from here, these are just the shoots after that. So this is about 9 months of growth of the shoots that I have, and this is about 6 months ago, and this is just a propagation from the leaves. This one is a cutting that I took 2 weeks ago, because this has grown on its full length again, so I have to cut it, because I don't like it when it's really long, because it goes bendy and I have to stake it like this, because I don't like it to be bendy. So when it comes to fertilizing, I just used your normal Osmocote cacti and succulent slow release controlled fertilizer that you can just get from the shops. This is Osmocote, and then the amount that I put in, I fertilize it once a month, just like that, just that amount. So when it comes to pests and problems, I'm lucky I didn't have one on these plants that I have, but I have heard that this is a favorite of mealybugs and aphids. So when you can see a white colony on the plant, on the leaves, just dip a cotton bud on rubbing alcohol and just dab it over. So remove it with a rubbing alcohol. But if you can see that the infestation is quite severe, I would recommend to just uproot it, repot the plant. So doing that, you would have to wash it and dry it for 2 days. Make sure that you cut the infested part with a sterile cutting tool, and then after 2 days, when it's fully dried up, the roots are fully dried up, you can just put it in a new potting mix like this one. So when it comes to propagating the leaves, so it's the same process. You have to, once you remove the leaves, you just have to allow it to dry for about 2 days. Make sure that the wounds are healed and it has dried up. Then after sitting it for 2 days, you can then put it in a moist potting mix and just don't expose it to the sun for about a month. And as you can see, but keep the soil moist, and then as you can see growth on it, you can start exposing it to the sun, maybe 2 to 3 hours of morning sun, and then just continue spraying it with just a bit of water, just making sure that the soil is moist. So when it comes to taking care of this plant, it does not need a lot of care. You just have to make sure that it's not exposed to your pets or to kids, that it will just see a slight motion will just knock off the leaves. And you don't need to prune this plant, does not require pruning. You just have to remove the occasional dead leaves that falls off. But if the leaves, to remove it, you can just leave it when it's really dry and allow it to decompose, and it will just mix in with the soil. But if it's wet and mushy that looks like a jelly, make sure to remove it because it will attract insects on the plants. So there we go. When it comes to my pots, as you can see white pebbles on it. Like these are just decorative pebbles. It's not really necessary. I just thought I'll put some so that whenever I water it, because sometimes I'll just spray it, I don't want the soil to get in contact with the leaves. So putting decorative pebbles on it will just stop that from happening. So there you go, guys. I hope you like this video, and I hope you will watch me again on another video featuring another type of plant. See, we've got plenty here that we can do a video later on, some care tips on how you grow it and how to propagate it as well. So there you go, and thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. Hope you will watch me again. Bye for now.